All right, for the next few assignments, we're going to be looking at animated GIFs. And for today's project, we're going to take a video file and turn it into a GIF. Go here, bit.ly/GIF-marv. That's bit.ly/GIF-MARV to download a video file. Once you get that downloaded, in Photoshop, we go to File, and this is one of the few times where we don't go to Open. We're going to let Photoshop do the hard work for us on this. Go to File, but pull down to Import. And we're going to import video frames to layers. And then navigate to wherever you downloaded the file for this assignment. If it's the first time you've done it, like me, it's going to take a minute to initialize. There we go. I am going to navigate to my impeccably organized desktop and find the file that we just downloaded. It's called Marv Scream. Now, if you hit the play button, you will get a viewing of the whole clip, which is 13 seconds long. All right, that's the whole clip. That is way too long for a GIF. And it is also, this particular one, as we're watching it, you can hear, has audio. You can hear the music, you can hear the screaming. But as you know, GIFs don't have any sound. So you don't want to get something that the sound makes any kind of a difference. I also should have said, if you are an arachnophobe, don't do this assignment. I once had a student who had a clinical case of arachnophobia, and I almost killed her with this assignment. So I apologize for that. It never really occurred to me that that might be an issue for some people. So the first thing we need to do is we need to figure out how much of this clip we want. And I want it to be like a reaction GIF. So I really just want the screamy bit. So if you grab this little hash right here and grab it and drag it, you can see the clips as they go. You can see frame by frame. And I want you to drag it to the right up to about here, right before he starts to scream. Maybe even a little bit further. You can see his lips starting to curl up right about there. Okay. Now, unfortunately, when you let up on it, it flips back to the first part, which is a bummer. But you know that's in the right spot. And then take your right side and drag it to the left to the part where he stops screaming, right about there. And if you want to see what it looks like, you hit play, and it'll play just the bit between your two hashes. Let's see what we got. Now, I actually just played mine, and there's a big pause where he's just waiting to scream. I want to push my left hash further, more like right where he starts to scream. Let's hit that play button. There we go. That's what I want. Okay. Now, over here on the left, where it talks about your range, it should be set to selected range. It automatically does that when you move your little hashes. And then this is an important checkbox. It's going to take every single frame of your video and make it a separate layer. We want to limit that. Every 2 frames is good. A lot of times you can get away with every 3 or 4 frames, depending on how fast the video goes. So let's limit to every 2 frames. There's one video that I use that's a slow motion video, and so we limit that to every 4 frames so that it doesn't take a year to work. Okay, and then this checkbox should already be checked for you. Make frame animation. If it's not, make sure that's checked, and then hit OK. And if you did it right, you look at your layers, and now you've got all these layers that Photoshop automatically made for you. I have 21. I could have done better. I don't think I needed that many. But if you've got like 300 layers or even like 50 or 60 layers, just start over. just do it again, file, import, video frames to layers, get that video and tighten it up. All right, now to see our animation and to edit our animation, go to the window menu and pull down to timeline. And your timeline is going to open up and you will see your frame animation. There's a play button down here. You can hit the play button if you want and you'll see what happens. But before we hit the play button, this right here, sometimes it's set to just once. That's not what you want. You can set it a specific number of times, which sometimes if you're doing an animation for a web page, you might have it set for a specific number of times to play and then stop. So it's not playing forever and annoying people with the, like those belly fat ads that just play all day. You can set that to play like, 5 or 6 times and then stop on a frame. But most animated GIFs that you see are set to forever. You hit play, you see there he is screaming, and then reset screaming, and then it just keeps running just like that. All right, so I'm going to stop that. It stopped on frame 19, and you see over here that lines up with layer 19. So at this point, you could be done. You could go to File, Save for Web, and you'd have yourself an animated GIF. Now, before we do that, I want to show you how to add text to it. And so far, we really haven't done anything that you can't do on a website like Jiffy. I know that I just said Jiffy and instead of Giphy, which is the way most people say it. But you can go to that website, you can upload a video file, you can add text. But I'm going to show you you've got some more control over what you want to do with your video file GIF than if you just used a website like that. So here's what we're going to do. You're going to go to your type tool, get your horizontal type tool, set your type to white. And when it comes to the size on the font, we'll see where we're at when we type. And you type whatever you want it to say. If this is going to reaction GIF, I might put the word a caps lock on and just type horrifying. Oh, hey, so I just did something, a real rookie mistake here. I typed my word, but I can't see it. I can't see it because I skipped a really important step, which was this. You see over here, I'm on layer 19. The very first thing I should have told you to do is to go click on the very top layer before you typed your text. I'm going to click my check mark and lock in my type, but I can't see my type. Oh, and I spelled it wrong because it's way down here. I'm going to click it and drag it up to the top. You're going to see, there we go. I put it up on the top layer now, and let's spell it right, and then lock it in. Now, when I moved it up, it added it to all my layers. It's turned on all my layers. That's because I have something important set that you may not. If you go to this menu in the upper right-hand corner of your timeline, I have new layers visible in all frames. So I made this new layer and it added it to all my frames. If that is unchecked, when I add it, it only fixes it in that one layer. So new layers visible in all frames. Sometimes you have it turned on, sometimes you don't. It depends what you're trying to do. Now, if I hit play, you can see there's my text and my video is playing underneath my text. I gotta be careful here. If I go to my move tool and I decide, oh, this is in the wrong spot at this point, and I move it, you see what happened? It moved, but it only moved on frame 13. So if I hit play, it goes play and then pick up. So you've got to figure out where your type is, where you want your type to be. I just did undo there before you lock it in. So because of the way I was confusing there with our layers, I'm going to delete my type layer and I'm just going to do this again for you. You start on clicking on your top layer, get your type tool. Let's say I was up here again. And you get your type tool and you type. Then you highlight your text, change your size and your font, get this all set. So change my size, get my font where I want, and I move it where I want. Make sure it is exactly where you want it to be. before you lock it in, because it's going to add it to all your layers when you click the check mark. And there adds it to all my layers. And then really, you don't want to move it. You can select all of your layers and then move it. You can shift select and then move it around. But ideally, you get your type locked in right where you want it before you hit that check mark. Now, I want this to go even crazier. I want this to be flashing. So what I'm going to do is, let's see how many I've got. I got 21 frames. So maybe I'll do like every 4 frames, I'm going to turn it off. So frame 1, 2, 3, 4, my text is turned on. I'm going to click on frame 5, 6, 7, and 8. So I'm going to hold shift and click on 8. So 5, 6, 7, and 8 are selected. I'm going to turn it off. And then 9, 10, and 11, and 12, it's turned on. 13, 14, 15, 16, it's turned off. And then 17, 18, 19, let's do 3 of these on, and then 20 and 21, let's turn them off. And let's see what happens. Yep, a little bit of a hiccup towards the end, but not too bad. I think I did the math wrong on that. I should have changed it a little bit so that it was a little more even, but that's okay. You get the idea. Have some turned on, have some turned off, and you'll see it flashing there for you just like that. Now, let's call this good. There's more things that you could do. You could play around with it. You could change colors. You could add shapes. You could do whatever you wanted to it. You can design it up. All right, you've got that control. You could add your logo. You could add a watermark, whatever you want to do. But for the most part, we're done. To save it, you go to File, Save for Web, and then your Save for Web dialog box pops up. And this is where you can make other changes. It tells you down here how big your graphic is. So it's about 1 megabyte. These days, that's not too bad for a GIF, but you could shrink it down. You could make it smaller. I'm sure that you have opened up a web page or a message that's had a GIF in it, and the thing has just sat there. It didn't start moving because you're waiting for it to load. So there's things that you can do to make this a smaller file to make it load faster. One of those things is colors. Now it's already set here to 128 colors. Yours might be set to 256, I don't know. If it was at 256, you can see it goes from 1.18 up to 1.39. If you go down to say 64 colors, you're going to start to get a little bit of that dithering, where the shadows, in order to make shadows, it does like dots. But 64 colors still doesn't look too bad. And that brings it down under a meg. Now we're down to like 900K. Okay. Once you get down under 64, like 32, it starts to, you get like these colors that are really kind of flat and kind of weird looking. But look at that. Now we're down to 760K. At 32 colors, we're looking real good. If we hit play, you know what? At 32 colors, it looks just fine. It does what it needs to do. GIFs are not known for their high resolution and awesome quality. It's more the factor of it being funny. What's 16 look like? Now 16, it's really starting to get kind of a duotone look to it here. It still works, and we're under 600K, but let's I'm gonna put it back up to 32. And then one more thing that you can do. Now went from almost 1.2 megabytes, so 1200 down to 750. That's a nice savings by chopping the colors down. Another thing that we could do is chop the size down. Now this is already pretty small, but you could go a little smaller. And if you go here to image size, instead of 450, let's just chop it down to 400. Okay, and you want to make sure that this here is linked. It should be, so that it is proportionate. So when you change the width, the height changes automatically. So you can see there that was a little bit over 10% savings. And then we got to hit enter, and then that'll lock it in. When you hit enter and you saw it shrink, and then I forgot where we were at. I think we were at 750. That took it down to almost 600. That's a big change for only knocking 50 pixels off. That's pretty good. Okay, let's call that good and hit save. And then I'll just save it on my desktop. Ooh, all caps, yeah. And then format, you have the option of saving a HTML file It writes an HTML file. It's just a blank white page with your graphic in the upper left. It's usually not what you want to do. Usually you want to just have it set to images only for you, and then you hit save. And then let's go look at our file. Here it is. It'll open up in any kind of a program that'll read an animation. So open with just like, sure, Internet Explorer. Do I actually still have Internet Explorer on my computer? Sure enough, look at that. Usually the Photos program will open it. Chrome, yeah, ask me never. Okay, and there you go. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. There we go. And there it is. That's actual size. Oh, look at how fast that is going. Look at that thing. So in Photoshop, um, uh, it's going that fast because we chopped out every other frame. If that is too crazy for you, and it is a little crazy, you could go back and select all of the frames. An easy way to select all the frames is to go right to this menu right here and say select all frames. Right now it's set to 0.04. We could double that about and do 0.1 seconds and then do save for web. And all those settings are already in there. And then I'll shrink it again, 400. And then hit save and call this Marv Slow. And let's compare the two. Okay, now that's too slow. Well, I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of dramatic. So it's that versus that. Probably something in between would be good. So that is how to make an animated GIF from a video file. Now, how do you get the video file? There are many illicit ways, all of which are blocked by my school district for you to download a YouTube video as an MP4 file. So I'll leave that up to you to figure out how to get the video, or if you just, you shot a basketball game and you wanted to, have a nice little replay GIF of a cool shot, that's easy. You own that video. That's easy to upload and crop down. Good luck to you, and I'll see you next time. I got 2 other videos that are coming on how to create a GIF.